young people feel lost, right? They feel out of place. And to know that they're in a space where, it conforms to the environments we already have them in outside of camp is huge.
When I look at the, Seeds of Hope, I feel like the organization, the camp, planted a lot of, beautiful seeds all over the community.
And I think that's one of the important things, is that not only is Seeds of Hope taking these talented kids at 8, 9, 10, but at 15 and 60, the kids are coming back on their own time and mentoring.
Seeds of Hope is offered, from camping to basketball to trips to different events. It's just amazing, really. And we do need to let other communities know about it, because there are leaders in other communities that could benefit from learning from the vision of Seeds of Hope, and how Youth Unlimited has also supported it.
I think I was at a meeting at a friend's house, and they introduced Ben to us and said about what he was doing.
I was involved with a group downtown called the King Bay Chaplaincy, and Mel and Sue Finley were at an event, and they told me about Seeds of Hope.
The Jane Finch Church Coalition started off initially with 4 churches. Lyle Memorial Baptist Church, where I was a pastor, Friendship Community Church, that initiated the coalition coming together, Agape Ministries, and Yorkwood Community Church, Salvation Army. From those 4 churches, we formed the Jane Finch Church Coalition, with Ben as the first and only youth community worker we have had. So it was through his leadership that the first camp started.
My name is Benjamin Osei. I'm a youth worker with Toronto Youth for Christ in the Jane and Finch area. So I've been working with the youth here in this community since the year 2000 up to date. The moment in Jane and Finch that I realized that something has to be done for the youth is when I relocated here from downtown shelter. And I told my friends my address, and nobody will come here because they said the place is bad.
We're near Jane and Finch, where police are investigating 3 separate shootings from last night, which they believe.
I reached out and I didn't see anything bad, but a lot of young people. Then in the evening when I turn on my TV, I'll hear that somebody has been shot and killed in places close to me. So I realized something has to be done. If people were telling me to leave the place, and I said, no, yeah, if this place is bad, then something can be done, because all I'm seeing is young people with practically no adult supervision.
I started in 2009 volunteering, and it's interesting because I myself became a Christian through camp ministry, and it has been something that has been a big part of my life over the years. And it's quite interesting because when I first came to Canada, I wanted to continue in that camp, doing camp ministry, and never saw that opportunity. So when Uncle Ben started Seeds of Hope, it never even really struck me that this was where God was leading me, until I was sharing with some of my friends in Bible study, in a Bible study group I had.
The camp started with Ben being the community youth worker who was hired through the Jane Finch Church Coalition.
Even before I joined Youth Unlimited, I started doing something on my own. So when I joined Youth Unlimited, I realized that especially during the summer, all these young people are on the streets with no parental supervision because their parents have gone to work. And I realized, yeah, I need to do something. That is how I started running the Seeds of Hope camp.
So that was really good to find out about his ministry. And and so we started to support him financially, not in a big way in any way, but a little bit every month. And because of that, we were introduced to more opportunities to serve with Seeds of Hope.
So I told Uncle Ben the very first year that if he wanted to, I would be in charge of overnight camp. So I would plan the sessions, I'd get the volunteers, the leaders, Bible study, everything.
We are bringing hope to the children. So we need to come up with a name that encapsulates that hope.
What does the name Seeds of Hope mean to me? And, I really think that's an inspired name. I don't know where Uncle Ben got it from, but it really does summarize very well what this camp is all about.
Seeds of Hope means to me like planting seeds of opportunity, seeds of impact.
So when I think of Seeds of Hope, it's like they're planting little seeds of values that we as parents embody and want our kids to embody.
So after brainstorming, we came up with Seeds of Hope. And it was the first camp coordinator, Jessica Pratizina, who actually suggested that, and I said, yes, that is the name we need, because we are planting seeds in these young ones now, and in the future we hope that that seed will germinate and become a big tree. And that is exactly what has happened over the years.
My Seeds of Hope experience shaped my sense of calling or purpose, in the sense that it was my first real exposure to becoming an educator.
I was literally like one of the first campers in Seeds of Hope, and I went through the program, and I also became a camp counselor, assistant camp coordinator, and just been involved since pretty much the start of Seeds of Hope.
I went to Seeds of Hope when I was a little munchkin. I think somewhere between age 11 to 14.
And I remember one particular summer we did a getting to know you activity, where one of the questions said, if there was one thing you could change about yourself, what would it be? And this camper said, my color. And I remember that moment just, it was just a heartbreaking moment to think that kids felt this way. And so when I talked with this camper, he talked about being teased for being the darkest in his class. And he came with, a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. And that summer, we saw how God's love really transforms lives. And by the end of that summer, he was a leader among his peers. He had just made so much change. It was that summer, it really solidified that I wanted to be an educator and do this, as a career and as a calling.
In fact, we had one story from last summer, where we had this one camper who had been very quiet, in fact, very reclusive and introverted. Throughout the whole camp, you had to be dragging him to be part of anything. And the very last day of camp, we had gone on a trip to this farm, and the kids were playing baseball. Now, all kids know a lot about basketball, but little or nothing about baseball. And this one kid seemed to have been the only one who really knew about baseball. But it wasn't just that he knew about baseball. This young man stepped up, and he was like coaching everybody, coaching the counselors and the kids how to hold the bat, like applauding them when they did things, telling them how to run, basically just showing some real coaching talent. And we were all shocked. I mean, even people who were there last year, who remembered him from last year, we were saying, is this the same young man? Because first off, the fact that he wouldn't even have interacted with anybody, but the opportunity was there, and he just shone that day.
We often think we come in as counselors to, make an impact on kids, but what we often found is it was reciprocal, that we indeed ourselves, became deeper in our faith, and God changed us as much as He changed these kids' lives. So we really benefited from the camp as well. So yeah, definite highlight.
Like when they say that it takes a village to raise a child, like Jane was my village. There was Seeds of Hope, there was Uncle Ben, there were friends that we had. One of the things that I guess I learned, back then about just conflict resolution in general is, to always like see two sides of the story. Because I was working with, the senior people. So I was like the president, I was like in between them, and I was in between the campers. So I'm like, this is what the campers want. This is what, this is something that's bothering the campers. And then I have to like go and tell those ideas and like actually be bold enough to share those ideas to those senior people that were involved in the camp. It was like, learning how to like speak up when things are not good, or even when they are good, like to give those sort of like compliments and accolades, and like just continue to work through that. Yeah.
Quality, accountability, professionalism. These are all things that he's pushing from an early age. And I can say, like, people who I know that I went to camp with now, like, I see that in them as well. Like, I have a friend that went to camp that's doing landscaping right now. I have another one that's doing internship at TD. You know, these are young men that, they care about their health and their fitness. They care about their families and stuff like that.
We had a few different events that we did with the youth from Seeds of Hope, both at our farm and at our business. And so it's just great to be able to invest in that ministry in a few different ways. And it's been really good for a number of years.
The camp was very active. There was always programs going on. There was always excursions that they were taking. And that was a bit surprising to me. It's not typically something that you experience. When you hear about, faith-based camps. So it was a great combination of the Christianity aspect, which I wanted, but also a program where they were being active. They weren't just sitting around, being told Bible stories.
I was trying to get there early because there's a chance to play basketball before we get into the actual programming for the day.
It was so much fun, like all the the water parks, the water games, the freezies, it was just such a big part of my childhood.
Recently they were doing self-defense, classes during camp. And my second oldest, Alex, is not an athlete by any means, but she got excited about it, and she wanted to continue. She even said, Dad, doing the self-defense today really showed me how out of shape I am. So to hear your 13-year-old daughter say that, it brings a smile to my face as a parent.
Even like more days here at the factory we have, the kids could spend maybe a week doing, or a few days, or even like a summer internship. We'd be open to that. There's lots of possibilities, particularly I think of enterprising youth, like to take one of those business plans and actually try to see if it would work, like maybe provide some seed money and some mentoring, coaching, to see if one of those ideas is a good opportunity. Try whatever it is, whether it's selling a product or doing a service.
Well, we now, in the last year, have moved out to Ajax. Even living out in Ajax, the kids are still coming to camp here. So that right there tells the level of sacrifice that we as parents are willing to make to experience that continuity. And with a program and a camp like this, it's 100% worth it.
There's even some people, they came to Seeds of Hope and now their kids are coming to Seeds of Hope.
We are busier than ever. I just mentioned the commute from Ajax, which, you know, on the best of days adds an extra 2 hours to my day. But knowing that, you know, that time I may lose on the road doesn't change the values that my children get by attending the camp is a huge win for me.
20 years is a long time. There's been people, even way past me, people that have been through Seeds of Hope. But I feel like when you have those core memories of very positive experiences, it sticks with you.
What really excites me is seeing the young children that I saw 20 years ago and what they're doing now. And there's a great percentage of them have done great. They've completed university. Some are nurses, some are doctors, some are lawyers, some are private equity people, but they've risen to the top of their careers. And if you would have saw them back in the day, this was a young, attentive, very engaged child that just wanted to be a part of it. One child came up to me, I go, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was at GMP, he goes, I want to be you.
You know, I just feel like there are real needs in this community, and just good opportunities that kind of match up with my experience and what I'm doing.
I see grassroots initiatives as, in this entrepreneurial aspect that you mentioned, I see it as important because it allows young people to take ownership and also allows the organization to shape the work, the dreams that they have, and put dreams into action.
My dream for the next 10 years is just to have Seeds of Hope in Jane and Finch as a lighthouse.
If there could be a way that they could couple the benefits of art with the goals of Seeds of Hope, I think that would be great.
You don't have to enforce people. You don't have to police people. You have to communitize the organization and make community the focus point to drive out people who are not playing in the community in what I call a very honest and fair way. People that should be adding to the community. They should be sharing in the community, not stealing in the community. So change that by action. You live by action, not by declaration. And I think that's what needs to happen. And that's what I look forward to seeing this happen.
You know, I know Uncle Ben is, you know, getting up there in age. I'd like to say that no matter what happens, I want to see this continue. I am a donor myself, and I'm excited to be. I feel like I need to increase my contribution because I'm not. I think I'm falling short given what this camp has provided for my kids, and my hope and my prayer is that this camp doesn't stop. Its reach, as far as I'm concerned, is far too small. I'd love to see them out in Ajax. It's okay that they're not, but this is a camp that deserves to grow and grow abundantly.
You know, we need leaders that encourage our youth to organize activities, to negotiate with schools, to build support. It's almost like running a corporation. Well, we need people like Benjamin who who have gone through it, often have gone through adversity themselves, and are able to persevere in spite of the obstacles that they encounter.
We should do everything in our power to keep it going, whether it becomes a branch off to other programs or they have like a Seeds of Hope building hub. Like that would be pretty cool too, with the different like activities that they do, robotics, a swimming pool. Yeah, I feel like that would be a cool dream.
I want to thank the people who have been there and working hard, diligently at the community center, including Uncle Ben, Sister Betty, Scott Moore at the overall looking over, and everyone at Youth Unlimited and Seeds of Hope, all the different people who had helped us counselors, all the people that helped to get the camp, and everyone who's getting ready for our big day, for our celebration in September at a gala event. And congratulations, Seeds of Hope. You've done another great summer.